What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time, my name is Travis Wallace. I am the founder of Formula Factory and a former NBA strength coach for about a decade. And today we're going to talk about why successful men have the worst fitness right now. Why all of a sudden the most men who are successful in business fitness levels at an all-time low? Why is that? And I'm going to give you the 3 reasons that I believe is the reason for that. Maybe if you're watching this video, it could be something that you could take with you. If you're a successful man struggling with your fitness, I'm hoping that this video can help you shine some light on why you may be struggling. I'm a former NBA strength coach, so I've trained some of the best athletes in the world. And a lot of things that I talk about on this channel is what I learned as a strength coach, training NBA champions, Olympians, all-stars, future Hall of Famers. And now once I transition into helping entrepreneurs, business owners, extremely successful businessmen with their fitness. And all I do is I use the same concepts that I use with them and I implement it for these men. Because I do believe that if you're at the top of your business or you're at the top of your industry, just like the NBA players were, why don't you have a team around you that's going to help you with something that you know is going to help you make more money, is going to help your business be more successful, it's going to help you be a better man, help you be a better family? Why aren't we doing the same thing in terms of that? Because once I got into this space and I stepped away from the NBA, I really wanted to help people who needed help. And the reason I really wanted to step away is because, like, honestly, I was helping people who made 30, 40, 50 million dollars over the course of a contract or a season for some people. And it's like, you get to a point, you're like, how much am I truly impacting the world? How much am I truly impacting men? How much am I truly saying that I'm changing the world as much as I want to say when you're helping people who are already at a certain level? And I understood that, yes, I am there to assist them. I've helped them become, a better athlete. But if I remove myself, this person is still going to be an NBA level type of player. And what I want to do is when I stepped away from it, I'm like, who needs my help the most? And the people who need my help the most are these men that I'm speaking about. They're extremely successful. They have the house, they have the car, they have the family, they have everything going for them. Their business is booming. But when it comes to their health and their fitness, it's at an absolute decline. I want to speak on the reasons why I think that they can't get over the hump. And hopefully at the end of this video, you'll understand why. So the number one reason why I think successful men fitness is at an all-time low is they hide their insecurities with money. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean that they hide their insecurities with money? Because like fitness is something that can't be bought. And I think this is what hurts them the most is you can buy a lot of things in this world, but when it comes to fitness, you actually have to do it. You actually have to show up. You actually have to follow a system and a process to actually get the results you want to get. And I think that this is what hurts them so much deep down inside because they know there's no purchase power for it. And it's funny how we're speaking on this topic because this Ozempic drug is becoming a big thing for successful men. They're like, hey, look, all I got to do is shoot Ozempic and all of a sudden, I'm going to lose weight. And people are understanding, yes, you will lose weight because it's going to suppress your appetite. But the problem is you're still not going to look the way you want to look and feel the way you want to feel. And if you actually want it to give you the benefit that you're looking for, you still have to train and follow a system and process and understand nutrition and have structure in a workout for it to work. So what's happening now, you can literally Google this. People are taking Ozempic and yes, they are losing weight, but they're losing muscle mass. As they're dropping weight, their bone density is declining. It's like they're just becoming a smaller, lazy version of themselves. And that wasn't the goal that you actually wanted when you signed up for this. Going back to fitness can't be bought. It has to be something that you do every single day and you believe that you can achieve that goal. And so we're talking about like things that can be bought, and a lot of things that get covered up are like fleeting objects. So like they'll buy the clothes, they'll buy the watches, they'll buy the cars, they'll buy the vacations for their family. They do all these things that are trying to cover up of what they're really deep down inside. There's so many times I've been on vacation and I see men with their families and like they won't take their shirt off at the pool or they won't get in the water. It's because they're extremely embarrassed of how they look, but they're trying to cover it up with this $5,000 to $10,000 vacation for their family. And everybody understands that they're sitting over there extremely embarrassed with the way they look. And the crazy thing about it, there is a cure for this, but remember, you can't buy the cure. You must actually put the work in and understand how the system works to upgrade your fitness. Speaking of the guys at the vacation, a lot of times these are the same men who, if you go into the gym at 5, 6 in the morning, they're there, which is one of the craziest things I believe. Like they're actually putting the time in to act as if they want a result. And it's kind of contradicting because a lot of times you hear successful men say, time is my biggest bottleneck. All right. So I don't have time to get in shape. I don't have time time to do this. I don't have time to eat a certain way. I don't have time to get in bed at a certain time. All the excuses. But it's so funny because that hour that they're spending in the gym, because a lot of them do go to the gym, that's wasting time because you're not getting a result. So you're going there for absolutely no reason, but time is your biggest bottleneck, but you're not getting a result. So you're wasting even more time by not getting the result. And that's one of the biggest things with these men is like they hide behind the money with the insecurities, then they blame time. And it's like, but you're actually going to the gym, and why are you not, getting a result? And it goes back to, like I said, they're covering up with so many things. You see the biggest guys, the guys that look like a bag of water sitting there with Rolexes and Gucci shirts and all this. And it's like, you have all that, but you're in here and you can't get this one result that you're striving to get because you continue to let the money, the cars, the clothes, the watches cover up the insecurities, but deep down inside you are extremely struggling with. So that goes to my next point is they train to check a box off instead of changing their actual body. And what do I mean by that? Those men that I just spoke about, they go to the gym to check a box off. So that's what I see in the gym all the time. It's like they're checking a box off to here. Oh, I showed up. Especially if they have a trainer, they put them through some randomness exercises and then they go home and they come back and the next day they look like they gained 2 pounds since the day before. I never forget a situation where I was at the gym one time and this lady, she had a trainer and she stepped on the scale and I guess she was like kind of like, depressed about the number she seen, and she kind of was just like, and then her trainer looked at it. She looked at her trainer. He just kind of shrugged his shoulders and started writing the weight down. There was no dialogue of why are you gaining weight? Why? I didn't look at the scale, so I don't know if she lost weight or she gained. I don't know the situation, but I can see in her face that she was extremely mad about the result, and she's looking for her trainer for an answer. To be quite frankly, he looked like he should never even be a trainer. I don't even know how he's a trainer, but that's a story for another day. But she looked at him and he looks at her and they just kind of like shrugs his shoulder. He writes it down. He didn't ask her, what'd you eat? What did you do yesterday? What has changed? Maybe the last 3-4 weeks we're not tracking anything. Like there's so many questions that should have been asked why she's still on the scale to get better understanding of why she is to where she's at. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to successful people is like they're checking boxes off instead of going for the actual reason that they're there for. You're there to change your body. You're there to improve your health. If every time I see you, you're more out of shape, you're gaining weight each time. When it comes back to the bottleneck they speak about the most, it's like if your time is your biggest asset, you are literally wasting time by coming here and not getting the result that you actually want. When it goes back to checking a box off, like you can ask a lot of men that are in the gym, like, because you'll see a lot of them on the elliptical for an hour, doing some burpees. Sometimes they're the men who are sweating more than anybody in the gym. And if you were to go over there and ask them like, hey, what did you just do all that for? They would have no answer. If I said, hey, look, I've seen you for the last 3-4 months. Like nothing has really changed, but you're sweating, you're doing all this stuff. Like what was the point of it? And the problem is a lot of them wouldn't have no point because they think sweating equates to results. And it necessarily doesn't always equate to results. There's a rhyme, there's a reason, there's a structure you should follow. A lot of times the most fit people in the gym, yeah, I'm not saying they're not sweating, but they're not sitting over there by a trash can about to puke every single time they do exercise. There's reasons why they're doing certain things. Like some people are building for strength. Some people are cutting fat. Some people are doing all types of different things. So it requires a different type of motive of what they're doing. So I think a lot of people struggle with that when they say they're just checking a box off instead of actually trying to change their body. Because if you understand that when you do randomness, you're really never giving your body a chance to understand what you're actually trying to do. So a lot of these people are not even on a program. They're just going to the gym and maybe ChatGPT is shooting them a workout and they do something different every single time. And it's like, how are you supposed to get better at something if you're doing something different every single time? How do you know you're improving? You will never know. You're just going there, checking a box off, like I said. And if I were to ask you, hey, why did you just do those exercises last week? What was the point of last week? What was the motive behind it? They would have no answer besides, hey, I just wanted to show up and go to the gym. And that's why they don't get the result they're looking for. So those are the two things. They hide their insecurity when it comes to money. The second thing is they train to check a box instead of training to actually get a result. And my favorite one is the last one. They use systems for business, but when it comes to their body, it's like they use delusion. And what do I mean by that? A lot of successful men, you talk about KPIs, you want to talk about ads, you want to talk about marketing, you want to talk about all these things that correlate to a successful business. They'll have all the answers, all the numbers dialed in. But then when it comes to the structure of fitness or the health, it's they wing it. You do all of this for your business. You have all these numbers lined up. You can read them off the back. But as soon as I ask you, hey, look, what is your structure around fitness? What is your nutrition like? What is your macros? You don't even know what macros are. How often are you working out? Like, what is your BMI? Like, if I ask you these questions, they have no answer for them because they wing it. And why do they wing it? Well, I think the biggest reason that people wing fitness is because they deem fitness as free. You deem fitness as something that I can do by myself. So it's like you're not an expert at it because we can clearly see that you have no idea how fitness works or how to produce results. But you're now an expert of your own fitness, and we can clearly see because you can't get the result you're trying to get. So I love to speak on this because about a decade in the NBA, I realized this is all they do. The best players in the world surround themselves with a team of people to help them get a result. What do these team of people do? They hold them accountable. They give them structure. So like I said, I was a strength and conditioning coach. You have a physical therapist, you have a chef, you have a nutritionist, you have a business manager. You have all these people who are surrounding this one athlete. And then when the lights come on, when you guys are watching the NBA finals or a playoff game, whatever it may be, you see that person performing, but there's people who are behind the scenes who are literally a catalyst of this happening. Now, I never take away from that person being who they are. They obviously made it there for a reason. However, they understand that by investing in a team is going to help them get the result that they truly want. So what is that result for a lot of them? A bigger paycheck, a longer contract, individual accolades, NBA championship. I can go down the line of what these players want. So now let's go back to the businessmen who are struggling with fitness. He wants to be below 10% body fat. He wants to lose about 20 pounds or so. He wants to feel good in the suit. He wants these results. So it goes back to the NBA player. The NBA player wants certain results, right? And this businessman wants certain results. But he wants to be an expert to teach him how to get those results, and it never happens because he's not an expert in that equation. But you go over here to his business and it's like, okay, he has an ads manager. He has a person in operations. He has an assistant. So he has people who are structured in place to help him achieve the result, whatever he's trying to achieve. And this is why they're struggling, because they don't look at it the same way. If you're going to be the best in the world at what you do, you have to outsource certain things. And especially the most important outsource is your health and fitness, especially if you are not an expert at it, and it clearly shows. So they're trying to get a result that they're never going to get. They're coaching themselves because they think, oh, well, fitness is free. I can just go do it myself. And this is why they continue to be overweight. I just read a study earlier and it talked about how like everybody knows how to lose weight, but for some reason, 40% of adults are obese or overweight. So everybody knows how to do it, but there's 40% of adults who are overweight or obese. So where's the disconnect? And the disconnect is one, implementation and actually wanting to do it, and then structure, accountability, understanding how it actually works. This is where the disconnect is, and nobody wants to be the one to say, hey, look, hey, I don't know, I need help. But as soon as they start taking this approach, like I said, that professional athletes take, or how the approach they take in other areas of their business, all of a sudden their fitness will become extremely easy for them, and they will finally start to see results. What does the system look like for a busy professional in order for them to get results? Well, like I said, you got to have structure. You got to have structure. You have to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. You have to understand nutrition. I have another video on there if you want to check it out. I break down how macros work in the video. So I'm not going to sit there and say like busy professionals should walk around with a scale everywhere they go and weighing their food. Like you're not a bodybuilder, but you must understand how food works and the content of each food. Because what happens is people just look at certain foods like, oh, I can eat this. I ate healthier earlier. And it's like, well, you really didn't. You actually don't deserve that, because another thing that's happening is they think they're eating healthy the whole time, and then they're not for a whole week. They feel like I ate healthy. Oh, I ate salads. I ate all my protein bars. And then by the weekend, they're like, oh, I get a cheat meal. It's like you had a cheat week the entire time. You just don't understand how nutrition works. This is why you just gained 3 pounds over the course of a week, where you just thought you had the perfect week and you thought you had one cheat meal. You had a cheat week, buddy. That is your problem. So this is the 3 reasons that your fitness is at an all-time low. The money is trying to be covered up by your insecurities, but you're only fooling yourself. We can all see that, hey, you're struggling with this and you want help, but you think that you can keep covering up with certain things. You keep going to the gym and you're checking a box off instead of actually going to get the result. You keep blaming time, but that doesn't make sense, because if you're already spending an hour in there, why wouldn't you just go get the result? I had a guy comment on, I think it was a YouTube video. He said something along the lines, I don't remember verbatim, but he pretty much was just kind of like, hey, I don't go to the gym to get a result. I go to the gym to help with my anxiety. I wrote him back and I said, if you're already going to the gym, why wouldn't you just go get the result while you're there and then help yourself remove anxiety? That's what I don't understand. I feel like that's how businessmen think. It's like, well, I don't really care if my body doesn't change. You do. That's why you're at the gym. I don't really care. But it's like, if you're going to go, why don't you just go and get the result that you really want to get? And it's like, I don't want to have to do certain things outside the gym. Okay, well, then you're wasting your time in here, right? You're wasting your time because you're still overweight. You're still obese. piece, you still don't know what you're doing, and you're spending hours in the week in here for no apparent reason. Once they can understand this concept, if you're a busy professional watching this that's struggling with your fitness, if one of these three things are the biggest bottlenecks of holding you back, you must understand that I am not an expert. My insecurities can't be covered up with money. 3, you must use a system instead of using delusion for your health. And once you understand that one of these three, some of you guys are struggling with all three. Once you look at that approach and say, hey, look, I'm actually going to go make a change. I'm actually going to go do better. I'm actually going to apply a system to my fitness so it's not feel like I'm running up a hill every single time. And when I say run up a hill, I don't mean literally. I mean, I feel like you guys are trying to lose weight year after year after year, and you can't do it, and you continue to do the same thing over and over again, and you're expecting something to change. Hey, I have breaking news. Nothing's going to change until you change something. I'm hoping that these 3 reasons that I just spoke about kind of really speak to you and maybe help you with your fitness. And if you're somebody that's like, hey, look, one of these 3s is really my issue, I just would love for you to comment down below and just talk about which one is it. And I would love to hear your dialogue about it and obviously your opinion on why you may be struggling with that. And if you're someone who's looking like, hey, man, I'm looking for somebody who's trained the best athletes in the world that can actually implement this stuff into my life, all you have to do is click the link below, book a one-on-one strategy call. I would love to speak with you, love to tell you exactly how I help the best in the world with these same implementation, same concept, same structure, and built that into your life. Because I think that fitness is going to come to a place where some of the most successful men are treated like athletes. And when I say treated like athletes, I don't mean in terms of like training like one. I think they're going to start building teams around them for their health, because they know that their health, their fitness is what's going to drive business. And the more alert you are, less brain fog you have, the more in shape you are, the better sleep you get, the higher the testosterone, the better you're going to feel and the better you're going to produce at work. And that's what I truly see in this space. That's going to be my job to do, is to build a business to help these men, create a team around them to make sure that fitness is all-time high, so you can be elite in fitness, elite in business, and still have time for your family, still have time for your friends, still be able to be the guy you are, but an even better version. So I think a lot of times people think that the whole lifestyle is supposed to get stripped just to look a certain way or just to feel a certain way. Once again, that is delusion. If you think that people who look better than you have no life, that is just because you won't believe that you can actually go achieve those results if you were behind the system. So once again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. And like I said, I would love for you to comment below and tell me which one you're struggling with. And also don't forget to book a one-on-one free consultation call with me. And I love to speak with you. So see you guys in the next video, and I hope to start your rebuild soon.